Hey dear viewer, this is Almighty Z, and guess what? A sequel to The Office came out, and watching it hollows out your guts like a bleach martini.
You don't say!
In a day and age where the mockumentary TV show has been played out, NBC decided now was the time to create a true sequel to one of the greatest sitcoms of all time. But they got the same writing quality to turn The Office sour for this sequel, because every aspect of this show is worse. There's annoying or bland characters, cliche tropes, hollow payoffs to poorly constructed storylines, and the humor is non-existent or painfully unfunny. Not to mention the odd connection how this show ties into its predecessor. And if you had no idea this show was released, I wouldn't blame you. This flotsam was sent adrift only on Peacock and had all the hype and advertising around it of a High School Musical. No, not you, sweet prince. Now, there are some positives in this show, and it does get better the further you progress. But man, this was such a slog for me to get through. If I hadn't decided to review this, I would have quit after episode 2. Hell, I've probably put more thought and effort into this review than what went into this sequel. This show makes seasons 8 and 9 of The Office tolerable, and that's a bar that scrapes your shins. Now let's get into spoilers if you care about avoiding them here for some reason.
You have been warned.
We begin with a reintroduction of the Scranton Business Park. Inside, we reunite with Bob Vance from Vance Refrigeration. He talks to the documentary crew about what happened to Dunder Mifflin. It got bought out by a company in Toledo, Ohio called Enervate. Enervate produces paper products in the form of Softies toilet paper and the local newspaper, the Toledo Truth Teller. So this show is about local journalism, hence its name, The Paper. Hey, wait, you're using a recyclable bin for a trash can to dispose the newspaper with crap on it? Also, your intro has newspapers being used throughout American life, but no one's actually reading it. For a show that will try to promote the value of good journalism, your intro doesn't reflect this at all. Frankly, it's contradictory. So like a fly you can't kill, this show's intro has an annoying buzz to it. But let me backtrack because I want to discuss the new industry focus. Now, the idea of the paper company for an office setting was done for both the UK and US shows. And it was chosen because it conveys a mundane office setting, and the industry was beginning to decline when the show aired. Now we're choosing a field that is far from a typical office setting, and has undergone major transformations and rising uncertainty over the last 15 years. Less people pay for subscriptions to local and traditional news publishers. Revenue for local news outlets has decreased substantially. Less people keep up with local news closely. More people are getting their news from blogs, social media, newsletters, apps tailored to your local area, independent content creators, and independent journalists for information locally and across the world. Not to mention how, for a variety of reasons, journalists in general aren't well regarded by the public anymore. What I'm getting at is print journalism, and local journalism in general, is more dead now than selling paper in the 2000s. If you wanted to choose an industry that would equivocate the setting from 20 years ago, why not create a fictional retail store chain with a regional office nearby, or a fictional manufacturing plant for your sequel series? Both involve having white-collar workers, both can have connections to using paper in some capacity, both industries are also on the decline, and both can expand upon the blue-collar worker experience. And this could be a good way to distinguish yourself from your predecessor.
Come on, yep, you've been warned.
Oh, my mistake. I thought my advice would be helpful. I'll never question the colossal power and relevance of local news again. But this is how we begin our show, and oh look, Oscar is here. Remember Oscar? He's our only returning character from The Office. To keep up the thin veil that this show is a relevant sequel. He isn't thrilled about being documented again, but he gets back into the groove of things in the 3rd episode, and gets more involved with the show as it progresses. They always come back. But he isn't our main character, nor most relevant, however. This time we have 3. Our main character is Ned Sampson, played by Domhnall Gleeson. Ned was a top salesman for Softies toilet paper, but has now made a transfer to journalism, his true career passion.
When I was a kid, I didn't want to be Superman. I wanted to be Clark Kent. To me, Clark is the real superhero. He's saving the world too by working at a newspaper.
He studied the subject in college and worked on his campus newspaper, so he has decent knowledge to fulfill his new role as editor-in-chief. Although a tad awkward, he's very optimistic for what the Toledo Truth Teller can be, and wants to return the once illustrious paper to glory. Now, Domhnall Gleeson is a good actor and has had experience with some comedic roles. His character and performance in The Paper are very similar to his role in the enjoyable rom-com About Time, where he also plays an awkward but well-meaning character going through life. What? I got a softer side. Now, the character similarities aren't a bad thing, but it depends on where you take the character throughout your story to make him endearing and memorable. We're introduced to Ned as a man who's passionate about accomplishing what he values, returning local journalism back to its glory days. And when he learns how tight the budget is, he asks the other staff of the Truth Teller to volunteer their time and help teach them some of the basics of journalism, all of which is a good way to make the audience like Ned, even if we believe his goals aren't practical. But it is peculiar how the backstory of Ned is almost entirely laid out within the first episode.
After spending 4 years getting my journalism degree, my father pointed out that the industry was collapsing, like an old smoker's lung. So I got scared and I went to work at his company, selling cardboard. I could really sell cardboard.
But wait, there's more!
I was home for Thanksgiving, and my mom basically announces that my father has been cheating on her. And I lost it. I was screaming at him, "You're a bad man. I will not work for you. I hate everything about you." And luckily, my dad felt guilty, which he should.
Yeah.
And he knew someone on the board of Enervate. And I went out to Softies in Chicago, worked there for 2 years, broke every record selling toilet paper. And they said, "What do you want to do next?"
But after the first episode, Ned slowly degrades. There's a few layers to this, so for now, I'll mention the big moments focused solely on Ned. The second episode centers around Ned trying to get his first issue published. But when the wire subscriptions to other news outlets get cut, he scrambles his staff to write stories around town. He also tries hunting for stories by calling the morgue and police, but this is how he does it.
Is this the morgue? Hey, have any bodies come in the last 24 hours? No?
You don't introduce yourself as a press member before asking about dead bodies? And you can't chalk this up to nerves because he studied journalism and worked on a collegiate one. Hell, introducing who you are before asking questions is the most basic way to begin getting information from someone you don't know. But this was done because later the police call Ned about a tip involving a potential serial killer bragging to the morgue, but they're referring to Ned's call.
Hey, is this the morgue?
All that for a joke, and it makes our main character pathetic. And the staff's stories never form for different reasons of incompetence, so Ned has to write a letter from the editor instead. It's a kinda noble way for Ned to save face, but said letter is the entire paper. It included quoting 3 chapters from Ned's favorite book to fill space. So this is a humiliating failure on several metrics for Ned, but what about later? The fourth episode centers around the main competition of the Truth Teller, a news blog written by a high schooler.
Really?
I know, but I promise I'll get to the specifics of this flim-flam later. As for Ned, after hearing about the blog and reading it, he posts a comment underneath critiquing his grammar and he should have attended the Truth Teller tour with the other high schoolers. Being petty to a high schooler. Not a good look, Ned. And surprise, surprise, Ned is immediately called out by the blogger and framed for cyberbullying him.
Truth Teller punches down editor-in-chief cyberbullies. Minor.
He calls the blogger to apologize, whose name is Wesley, by the way, and the call doesn't go well.
I'm calling to apologize.
Okay. Not accepted.
I'd really appreciate it if you took the story down, pal.
Not gonna happen.
But after Wesley posts an implication that Ned's coworker is an old creep, the two decide to get revenge against the still high schooler. They publish a fake press release that Wesley falls for, and the two use it to discredit him. Now, Ned had second thoughts about this, but the episode resolves his dilemma by saying it's important that the truth, no matter how unpopular, comes out.
The courage in journalism is sticking up for the unpopular, not the popular.
People are mad that I pointed it out, so be it. At least I did the right thing.
But if Ned never tried attacking Wesley, a very avoidable action, they never would have run into this. And there are bigger issues with this episode. Like, why is a high schooler running the most successful Toledo news blog instead of someone who can vote? Why not make the blog written by a dedicated independent journalist in the area? Or how could only one expose destroy a popular blog? The kid in the episode was being witty in responses to the Truth Teller, and he wouldn't just have a response to this to save face? And we never see the after effects of this exposure. We just have to take their word for it. To skip to the 7th episode, the CEO of Enervate, Marv, has a brief meeting with Ned. The two already have a friendly relationship, but when leaving, Marv casually says,
Be good, kiddo. Love you.
and because Ned has his own daddy issues, he loudly proclaims in front of the office,
Marv, I love you.
and the rest of the episode revolves around Ned in creepy, pathetic attempts trying to make Marv a father figure during the workday, while acting like an emotional teenager the entire time. Asking him to attend meetings, taking credit for other story ideas to try getting his approval, having a small tantrum over Marv's story idea.
Thanks for backing me up on Total. I look stupid. I look stupid in front of the boss.
You don't.
It takes until the end for Marv to point out their relationship is purely business for Ned to snap out of it.
I'm not your daddy. This is a business.
Once again, we have another episode degrade Ned's dignity and competence, with a scenario that was completely unnecessary. Thankfully, episode 8 does display something admirable with Ned. The truth teller uncovers a story where Softy's new product, Man Mitts, isn't a flushable product despite its marketing. This is significant because it's led to city sewer pipes being completely clogged by Man Mitts. When the corporate strategist, Ken, overseeing both Softies and the paper gets wind, he tries to force Ned to shut down the story, even citing an earlier comment from Ned regarding how he would never write about Softies.
And his reporting on Man Mitts, I said that's impossible, because previously you had a very principled hissy fit saying you wouldn't do that.
But Ned stands his ground and refuses.
Get out of my newsroom.
Careful.
Later, when Ken tries to shut down the story again, Ned threatens to resign.
Excuse me, everyone. I have something very noble to say. I have to do something very important right now, and very, very difficult. Now I must do that which every newsman dreads. I must sacrifice myself for the good of the paper and the community by resigning as editor-in-chief of the Toledo Truth Teller. If you must shed tears, do not shed them on my account. Shed them for justice, because justice has not been served today.
And although his announcement speech had some usual tinges of awkwardness, this moment in episode does show conviction in what Ned believes in. Publishing stories to inform the community no matter the cost to himself, nor against corporate interests. And after a bit of blackmail against Ken's involvement with the Man Mitts, Ned can return to his job and publish the story by clearing the Man Mitts inventory. Returning to his old but driven salesman days, Ned outsells everyone in a few hours by rebranding the mitts as kitchen wipes to throw in the trash.
I just want to hear those two words. I'm in. Say it. Say it. Say it. Say it. Say it. Beautiful!
Another plus for Ned by displaying how confident and capable we see him as a salesman, and even using his wits to rebrand a subpar product.
Mission accomplished. Good work, Marines.
But again, this high doesn't last. The next episode involves Ned and his coworker Mare driving to write a story about a potential cult. During the drive, she gets a call from a Cleveland Today magazine reporter to get a phone interview for what was Mare's article about the Softies clog. At the end, she says Ned has wonderful principles, isn't weighed down by experience, and is a very hands-off editor.
He's really that hands-off?
Oh my god, beyond. Yeah, very hands-off. I think in this story, the readers read it before he did.
But taken aback, Ned overcompensates and gets too involved in the questions to ruin the interview. Just every time you make us like the guy, you drag him through the mud immediately to make him pitiful. It's like you're punishing us for getting slightly invested in him. And for the finale, Ned is nominated for an award but tries to downplay the moment by acting like it's not a big deal.
I dream about it constantly, but as long as I shove that desire back down when I wake up, everything's fine.
The obvious being he does care, and he finally acknowledges it briefly when he accepts said award.
This is great! Oh my god! Thank you so much!
And this ties into a broader arc with his feelings regarding a certain coworker, which I'll get to. The result of Ned is a character that is an amazing former salesman who is idealistic in returning to the older days of journalism and will fight hard for journalistic integrity. But he is awkward in many social situations and will constantly falter the moment he feels insecure about his job, the paper, personal life, or qualifications. And he will subside feelings of what he truly wants for either trauma or to maintain professionalism. It's not endearing or entertaining to have a main character be this weak. Ned should have at least decent growth to become more confident and stronger after either each episode or at the end of the season. Especially when this season focuses so hard on his flaws, but we don't get that. And with how the season ends, professionally Ned is rewarded, and personally it ends on a cliffhanger. Neither is fulfilling to any growth, which I'll explain soon. It doesn't help that a lot of humor around Ned is centered around him handling awkward situations he's been forced into. Like having to explain to his new coworkers how it's his first day when they lock him in a copy room for thinking he's a hobo. Or having to get on a Zoom call when applying a skincare mask for a product review. or failing to move a spider out of the car during Mayor's interview, or he has a feminine run to chase a tire down the road, or... Alright, I get it! Part of the problem with jokes around him being tormented is he isn't being immoral or showing sociopathic tendencies. So all these jokes are more cruel than funny. These kind of jokes worked better on a character like Dwight, because he liked to display his megalomatic tendencies and was very self-confident. Jim's pranks would take him down a peg, hence why they were amusing throughout the show. And you know what? That reminds me. The jokes in the show are utterly abysmal. Like attending a Dementor comedy club, each joke sucks the life out of you. See, that one joke was better than anything the paper could muster. You can tell there are attempts at jokes from the actor's delivery, but the punchlines are non-existent. Let me tie you to a chair while I hit your balls with this.
You gotta have an antenna for the right story, and that takes a nose for news, for which ones are the most important.
Thinks I'm sad all the time, but actually a lot of the times I'm just tired of pretending he cheered me up the last time.
It's not too disruptive to have me come in and sort of shake everything up.
Oh, no, don't be so self-defecating.
That popcorn was a gift to Maria, who had my desk before me, from Enrique, who used to work in sales. They have 2 kids now.
Help you guys?
Yeah, we're reporters, local ones, from local here, Toledo. This is my reporter pad.
Well, the spaces are for employees for us to unload our equipment. There's a sign right around there.
I'm not buying any of this shit.
Do you know Cockroach? That you try to smash it, but then it doesn't die. He turns on his back. You know, that's Ned.
It's his mother. We're actually married.
I'm also her boss.
Here, please hit me as hard as you can.
Hey, Chief.
Hey, just because I'm your editor-in-chief, you don't have to call me that.
I wasn't. I'm not good with names.
Fine. I'm 59. You got me.
I like making Nicole homemade gifts. I'm a proud Michael's Reward member, but I realize it may be too much for her, so I'll probably just hold off until later, after our wedding. I'm kidding.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
We convince him his father, he's not his real father. Kids hate that.
It's interesting.
Meet Toledo PD's Detective Arnold.
Thanks, Travis.
I'm feeling something troublesome in my L4, L5 vertebrae, so Glenn's handling it for me today. I appreciate you, brother. Silent generation. They do not make them like that anymore.
Ned accuses me of sensationalizing stories. Now, since when sensation is a bad thing? Ask a box of condoms.
Oh. Is this supposed to be refrigerated?
Juice is better at room temp. Brings the flavors out.
Oh, shit! I thought that guy was dead, but he's alive. You've seen that, right? I mean, he looked like he might die tonight still, so I'm gonna leave. That way, if he dies later, that's on y'all asses.
You can't go over my head.
Are you calling me short? I go directly to HR.
I'm telling you that pizza's unhealthy for 25 years.
The difference is, he lets me eat it.
First order of business. Charlie's Angels. Too sexy for prime time. Have pro and con on my desk in 15.
Yeah, people tend to just trust me. It's something about the beard and soft eyes combination. People say I look like a young Kris Kringle.
This scenario, what? I'm a little hat worn by an ass? Or am I an ass-shaped hat?
What do you mean even psychics can be wrong? I give you $900 for the amulet, okay?
I don't believe in the exposed knee. Back home, we would call these the schoolmaster's delight. It's orphan for a reason.
If you two met my father.
And to get an award, but not to be nominated and get an award.
I can't take it anymore! I just want to die!
Your balls and lady balls have gotten the point. Time to move on. The next main character is Mare, a former military journalist who is currently the Truth Teller's compositor. She shows us her job, just copies and pastes articles from AP into the Truth Teller.
never replace me.
But when she meets Ned and learns his ambitions, she has hope her job would allow her to do real journalism again. So her journey this season is mostly centered around growth and recognition in her career. Although in the third episode, it is revealed to Ned that Mare may be finding a new occupation with Radisson Hotels. Ned doesn't want to lose his best reporter, so he goes with her to conduct an expose of retail mattress stores scamming customers. Together, the two discover the scam is legit, and Mare decides to stay after writing the article.
I don't know. I'm young. The hospitality world will always be there.
But it is odd that your stakes for this episode is to potentially remove one of your main characters by episode 3. It's way too early to attempt something like this, because it doesn't make the stakes of her leaving convincing, nor her commitment to staying meaningful. This would have worked better if it was, say, at the season finale, after we've grown to learn and enjoy Mare and her relations with the other characters. But as you're going to learn, the writers bungled this and many opportunities to write something halfway competent. To episode 4, Mare gets a chance to do an interview with her Juilliard attending, high school theater teacher, Mr. K. But she has an old grudge against the man for not choosing her for the lead role in The King and I. Afterwards, she does some research and discovers a connection between parents of students who bought large ads in a theater program and who starred in productions. But as Oscar points out, it isn't hard to evidence, so she can't publish this story. But after a bit of digging, she discovers Mr. K never attended Juilliard, despite his frequent claims. So she publishes this tidbit in her interview, despite the potential backlash from his supporters. Now, while publishing that may be seen as petty, we are shown throughout the episode that Mr. K wasn't exactly the kindest of instructors.
See, some of you are getting emotional. Do you know what would happen if we cried at Juilliard? Do I have to remind you that Defiance High School is mounting an amazing production of Bye Bye Birdie that's gonna blow your asses off?
And the biggest takeaway is how Mare was able to resist publishing hearsay and stick to something factual. So there is something adequate here for her character to experience, putting personal problems aside for professionalism. To skip to episode 8, Mare is the one who helps lead the story on the Softy sewer clogs, and helps blackmail Ken to save Ned's job. And not only did she get recognition from Cleveland Today magazine about the story, but also from the Ohio Journalism Awards. The other nominees are Oscar for Best New Game, and The Truth Teller itself for overall excellence in journalism. Mare ends up winning for Best Short Investigative Article and gives a speech.
Wasn't even sure I would write an article I'd be proud of, let alone winning an award. I need to thank Ned Sampson, our editor-in-chief. He gave me an opportunity that changed my life, and he tends to do that with people, so thank you.
So Mare has gone from a disillusioned journalist who feels her career won't have any value to obtaining an award in recognition for writing a piece exposing corporate interests. A straightforward and solid arc, but with a few bumps in the road that I'll get to later. In fact, everyone wins their nominations, making this the season arc for everyone, going from a locale news organization to beating all other journalism sites in the state of Ohio. But this is why it isn't satisfying. Outside of Mare's article, the Toledo Truth Teller never shows us its progress and quality it made throughout the show. We aren't shown scenes of citizens of Toledo noticing improvement. We don't get word from other news outlets in other Ohio cities commenting to Ned about the Truth Teller being good again. Ned was making it better, which isn't hard to do from its former state, but this win is unearned. It takes more than one good article to make a good paper. It requires the other volunteer reporters to also write great articles consistently, but the season never showed us this. So like with the So Wesley blog being taken down in quality, we have to take their word for it that the Truth Teller is good again, which is subpar storytelling because you're doing tell not show. It's more satisfying for you to show us the new positive reception it's getting throughout the season, and none of the other staff make progress at their writing nor journalist skills. Hell, the high schoolers from episode 4 knew more about good journalism than the staff.
It'd be better to say something like, did you have a strong emotion? Yes or no?
Well, Mrs. Hanks taught us that we shouldn't ask yes or no questions because it discourages someone from elaborating.
Yes.
So I guess the show is saying Mare carried the team on her back to glory. Or maybe this is the best journalism can be if the other Ohio papers couldn't beat it, because they all suck. And remember, Ned's first issue included 3 chapters of his favorite book, an obvious plagiarism issue. In episode 4, the paper was ridiculed for immaturity by a popular blogger. The 6th episode had each staff member write reviews for products they were trying, and to try and make it positive for it to sell, despite the various negativities. How could they win despite all of these issues going against them? I would argue it would be better for the longevity of the show to not win this season. Maybe the paper winning would be the goal for Ned to prove the truth teller has returned to glory. They could lose this time, maybe even to a rival outlet if the competition was well established in this season, but it would motivate the staff to do better next year. Mare could still win to show there is talent in the staff. Then again, we had no idea these awards were a thing before the second to last episode of the season. Almost like these were made up at the last minute to try and salvage the season. But to go back to Mare, she is the most decent new character we have, making her the best in the show by default.
Default! Woohoo! The two sweetest words in the English language.
But her career growth is only half her character in the show. Throughout the season, Mare and Ned have a romance arc.
Oh shit, here we go again.
And yes, it is absolutely a cliche in the mockumentary genre that there must be at least one romantic story between characters. People in the outside world don't exist in these things. And despite the actors' great chemistry throughout the show, the writing between the two needs to be at least serviceable for the romance to be good. And to explain what I mean, Mare having a romantic interest does not degrade her as a character, but Mare being romantically interested in Ned does. Let's go back to the beginning. Their first interaction is when Ned is interviewing in the lobby and Mare bumps into him, spilling her salad in the process. Later, when Ned gets trapped by the staff,
I start here today. You can let me out.
We had a security breach a month ago. Can't be too sure.
Yeah, and kind of an acid wandered in from a jazz festival.
Mare helps him get free.
You guys can let him out.
Are you sure?
Yes, I saw him downstairs talking to the camera crew. He's real.
Thankful for the help, Ned offers to repay her lunch, and it's where Ned tells his history. During the conversation, she becomes enamored with Ned's ideals and passion for journalism. But when an email goes around saying Ned wasn't Me Too'd,
Yes, because I didn't want you to start off on the wrong foot.
and yes, I'll explain this in a bit, he decides to address the staff about it, during which Mare shows interest and encouragement with his speech, including when and how much to discuss the Me Too stuff.
There was an email going around, but,
And the episode ends with Mare showing Ned a surprise. On the walk, he asks several times what it could be, and to get some soft laughs out of Mare.
Am I being hazed? I want to say up front, I don't like being hazed. No. Is it asbestos? Because I can smell it. Ooh.
But it's the old printing presses of the truth teller. It's a way of Mare saying thanks for making her job mean something again. And based on several glances towards Ned throughout the episode, it's a way of getting closer to him by appealing to his earlier ideals. For a beginning of a romantic relationship, this is a fine start, and it's sold well through Chelsea Frey's expressions to convey hints of attraction. To episode 3, this is where Mare and Ned investigate the mattress store scam. But before Ned tags along, he gets word that Mare is asexual, and is called out by a coworker, which I'll get to, for having feelings towards her, which he awkwardly denies. So during this mattress store trip and subsequent interactions, he's trying to both hide his feelings and maintain a professional relationship. But he handles interactions with Mare awkwardly, like suggesting this to pose as.
We don't have to be a couple at all, all right? We can just be brother and sister.
We're buying a mattress together?
Our mom gets debilitating bladder infections.
But once they get their story, they're both over the moon. Later, Ned gives her realistic odds for the truth teller to survive, which makes Mare stay, along with the story.
I don't know. I'm young. The hospitality world will always be there.
The two glance longingly at one another, causing Ned to say,
All right, buddy.
Yeah, night, dude.
which makes Mare refer to their relationship as Buddy and the Dude.
Also, who could break up Buddy and the Dude?
A very lame and unsexual way to describe the relationship. And slowly, this kind of interaction happens more. Episode 5 involves Ned setting up a dating profile for a story involving catfishing. But Mare sees his profile, lightly teases its state, and decides to create Ned's profile for him to match with the catfisher. During which, she notices a lot of his photos make him look rich, which his family kind of is.
Does your family own their own pickleball court?
That's not pickleball, it's platform tennis. My uncle had one installed 2 summers ago, and he's strictly middle class. It was a huge part of his mayoral platform.
When it comes to a section of his bio involving his childhood, she suggests a story to show he's caring but vulnerable, which he replies,
I used to cut my grandmother's toenails. Is that a thing?
But this is Mare's ultimate reaction.
The grandma story was gross, but it was also really sweet. I swipe right on that.
And this moment is part of the problem with this romance arc. Ned continues to be socially awkward and reveal unflattering details about his life, yet Mare finds him attractive anyway. This kind of way of writing a romance is lazy. Because if the girl didn't find the guy's oddities or actions cute, especially when he isn't being conventionally appealing, the romance would end. But no matter what he does, Mare thinks he's hotter than a black shirt on the sidewalk. Now there is an attempted rift between our partners. At the end of episode 6, Ned slowly spills the beans about knowing Mare is asexual.
Why are you being weird? Ned, what?
That you're an asexual.
But Mare replies it's not true, which prompts Ned to call said coworker in for a reprisal. But instead, Mare is upset that Ned believed it, not at the coworker who started it.
It doesn't really matter why she said it. It's just really weird that you just believe it.
You can be mad at both of them. To be frank, if someone spread lies about your sexuality, it would be believable to be furious at them. And honestly, that's so much worse than someone believing it. So this wedge between our characters is forced as shit.
Oh my god.
You're single.
You're single.
I feel like there were more reasons.
Mare spends the next episode mad at Ned when he has his daddy issues. So she keeps her distance. Although she admits the rumor upset her so much that she did the following.
And Ken's, never assumed something about me so incorrectly. I've spent all weekend going through my makeup and clothes and facial expressions in the mirror I'm sorry, do you guys ever ask questions about journalism?
But they make up at the end through playful texting that's somehow on Mare's open work monitor after hours. Great way of showing that, writers. So this entire riff was closed as soon as it's open.
Believing a lie about you without asking me about it first? I mean, are you a journalist?
This is worthless.
Episode 9 is Ned joining Mare on the trip to investigate the cult. They bond a bit on the drive, playing games like Fuck, Marry, Kill with their coworkers.
Kill, fuck, marry everybody in the office.
I'd marry them all.
Then they talk about if they would be susceptible to joining a cult.
I hope I'm too smart to join a cult, but who knows? I fell for Blue Apron, so clearly there's a hole in my life, right?
I think the right cult could totally get me.
You?
Yes.
Skeptical you? No way.
Then after noticing a lamb, it reminds Ned about a lamb he had as a child.
We went to a petting zoo, and I fell in love with this lamb, and eventually they got me Flossie.
Which amuses Mare quite a bit.
You had the childhood of like a Hungarian prince.
Don't make it a class thing.
Are you kidding?
In isolation, this scene is fairly nice. It's two characters revealing aspects of themselves to one another in a natural way that helps bond the relationship. We're seeing who they are and what they like about one another. But we needed more scenes like this spread out over the season instead of stuffing them in this one trip. It takes time to build genuine connections, and everything up to this point has been lackluster. This feels like the writers are speedrunning Ned and Mare's connection now to make this relationship appear meaningful. Then the Mare phone interview happens where Ned gets insecure, then messes up the cult interview. They get a flat tire on the way back, and Ned sulks outside the car while Mare changes the tire. He offers to call AAA, Mare refuses. Annoyed at his demeanor, Mare rolls the spare tire down the road, refuses to pursue it, which forces Ned to try commanding Mare, then he gives up to go retrieve it, where he runs like that. Later at a diner, Ned attempts to apologize by giving Mare a float that she doesn't want.
I don't want you to watch me eat a float, you weird martyr.
I didn't earn it.
And when she mentions how overbearing he's been today, Ned outbursts.
Why are you needing to be Mr. Boss everywhere we go?
I don't need to be Mr. Boss, okay? Because I am Mr. Boss.
Confirming what Mare suspected, Ned is insecure about his qualifications in his role as editor over someone who did journalism for longer in her career. The two continue to bicker.
I don't think you're dumber than me.
Yes, you do. Oh, Mare, wow, you're so impressive with your manual labor.
Ned, you're so hands-off.
And yet, Mare will still find him desirable. Again, I ask, why is all of this not a deal breaker for you, Mare? Because if you've ever interacted with a real woman, they don't find being pathetic, petty, insecure, awkward, and emasculated at every turn attractive. Shocking, I know. And there hasn't been enough revealed about your own history to justify why you would overlook these qualities to have the hots for Ned. So this romance isn't just lazy, it's downright nonsense. This has all the makings of a friend zone relationship, not a boinking one. Or is Ned's hot ginger body able to hide all those red flags?
I feel queasy.
Oh, and you want to guess how Ned and Mare's issues get resolved? It's not by talking it out, but by the call that they've been nominated for the Journalism Awards. Hey, dipshit writers, this doesn't resolve the issues they were having. This hides them under the rug and expects you to forget about them. Or let me guess, this was yet another attempt to make a wedge between the characters, but you didn't want to commit to it, so you settled for this. But onto the awards show. Mare arrives with a date, Theo, who in reality is an old friend she's using to make Ned jealous. While Mare is awaiting for her category to be presented, she gets very anxious, and is unsure if she even belongs to be here.
God, it just feels so ridiculous to even be nominated.
Which Ned responds,
I think it would be ridiculous if you didn't win.
This tender moment doesn't overlook the previous issues I've described, no matter how well you give those longing glances. Later, Mare talks Ned into sneaking off to practice his victory speech. They find a wedding reception, and Mare pulls Ned inside.
No, that's a wedding. No, we can't. Okay, this is nuts. No, this is...
Mare embraces the moment, while Ned still tries to keep it about his speech.
Do I start with a joke?
What is the joke?
Being a good journalist runs in my blood. Literally. I cannot make mistakes because I'm typo negative.
Forget the joke.
It's another moment of Mare showing interest, hoping he picks up on her signals and break through his awkward shell. Then, a slow dance song begins to play.
I think, whatever you feel when you get up there will be just great.
But despite all the signals Mare is giving, Ned tries to keep it professional.
What if I say that journalism is at a crossroads because of underfunding? Would that be abusing my pulpit?
Excuse me? Yeah.
Mostly thanks to the performances here, this scene does have some merit. It's kind of like seeing two young teenagers sneaking off to be alone, and one trying to get the other to admit their feelings. But the bride and groom notice them, and give them the boot from the hotel, just as the truth teller wins its award for overall excellence.
And there was much rejoicing.
You know, when you signed in for the awards show and got whatever was in that envelope, you could prove to the hotel you belong there. You don't, however, because we need to force this moment to happen. When Mare gets the victory text, the two rush to the back entry of the hotel and end up having to go through the kitchen and squeeze through a door blocked by a table to get to the acceptance stage. But Ned left his cards behind, so he starts off with this.
God, I thought I didn't care. So I just...
But then his coworker passes out and his speech is halted.
Later.
The two reconvene at the hotel bar and have this exchange.
Everyone looks magnificent in the light of the Preston.
Everyone?
Yeah. Barry's dad. You.
But Mare's friend Theo arrives and wants to go home, so Ned doesn't pursue the moment further. Once Mare leaves, Oscar, who has noticed Marv has been in love with his receptionist for years and has done nothing, points this out to Ned.
Probably has been for decades.
He's principled.
Denying two people a lifetime of happiness is principled?
Albeit a tad obvious, but this subplot was to mirror Ned's own predicament. And Oscar gives this advice.
A great man once said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Also an idiot I used to know.
Ned goes to Mare's hotel room and thinks he's interrupting a moment with Theo. It's actually a fellow staff member, which I'll get to in a bit, and Mare enters the hall. Ned begins to tell Mare how he feels.
I want to thank one person most of all. Someone that I consider my partner, and without whom my days...
But walks away before acting.
Good night.
Are you kidding?
What?
You're just gonna walk away again right now?
Yes.
By this point, it's obvious how the two feel. Yet Ned feels strongly about the danger their working relationship would be in. So the two decide to try this solution.
I don't know. Maybe we just need to, get it out of our system.
And here's how it goes. They pull back, but look longingly. And when they can pull away, Ned reacts with,
"Oh shit."
And that's it. Season's over. You ended this on a lousy cliffhanger to try and mimic Jim and Pam's romance without doing the legwork to make it endearing, which is broadly the issue with this entire subplot. And I wanted to go in depth with this romance because most people who watch the paper will say this was good and maybe the most redeemable part of the show. But really, this entire story arc is half-hearted attempts at a passionate connection between two people, veiled by great acting. Like a gorgeous house built with toothpicks and glue. And you know what made that major romance in The Office be so beloved? It had the characters be connected among a variety of topics and situations consistently across each episode. There were more episodes for the feelings between the characters to be explored before Jim told Pam how he felt. Jim wasn't constantly put in situations that made him conventionally unappealing, and the actors had great chemistry. So when Jim expressed his feelings to Pam in Casino Night, it provided a satisfying conclusion to the preceding story. A climactic moment to all the flirtatious exchanges while creating anticipation of what would happen next. And unlike in the paper, that romance will remain a beloved and memorable romance subplot throughout television history. And now we reach our final main character, Esmeralda Grand.
Mama, they wrote my story. This is me.
Boy oh boy, where to begin with you? Well, if you haven't drunk away your memories of seasons 8 and 9, you may remember a character called Nellie Bertram, a middle-aged British woman who was obnoxious, irrational, unqualified for management positions, and kept playing off her actions as ditzy and cute. Well, Esmeralda is that, but more narcissistic and Italian. Seriously, writers, what in the hell compelled you to create another character like this? Nellie was despised by most fans of The Office and one of the many reasons why the show decayed post-Michael. But it's like you're committed to the idea of an inept foreign woman in management being a great idea for a comedic character. And if we change her to a country with better food, it will work, damn it! So Esmeralda is the online editor for The Truth Teller, and helped run the news organization into the ground by publishing clickbait articles and puff pieces for products. Also, her only media experience is being a contestant in a reality TV show several years ago. So she's gotten this role through connections and bullshit. Swell. Nothing makes you like a character more than being reminded of your own workplace. When Ned comes in and wants to change the day-to-day, she takes that personally. So Esmeralda dedicates her time to sabotage him at every chance, yet act like she doesn't know what she's doing. And she never faces the consequences. She sends out an email to the staff on Ned's first day saying Ned wasn't Me Too'd.
But I wasn't.
Yes, in fact, that's why I said he was not Me Too'd. I don't think.
This forces him to awkwardly explain himself to everyone. For Ned's first issue, she was the one who canceled the wire service accounts to disrupt Ned, and forced him to scramble to publish something. Then she schedules a lunch with Ned in front of the Innervate bosses to hold him back from working on publishing the issue. It only lasts a few hours, but it's enough to produce the feeble edition we get. And when she reads his disastrous first issue, she laughs at the work she's done.
807-538-19623.
Why are you the way that you are?
Oh, and that rumor about Ned hearing Mare was asexual? That came from Esmeralda. And she did it once she sensed Ned was attracted to Mare.
I saw you looking at her like a dog on my auntie's leg.
Christ, no, stop that. That is not...
You lied about a coworker's sexuality to hurt your boss personally to make him leave. Good God, you are despicable. And we're not even through the whole third episode. It was also Esmeralda who mentioned to Ned, Mare may leave for the Radisson. So when he leaves to do the mattress story to keep Mare, she schedules a budget meeting with Marv and lies that he knew about it.
He knows about this meeting. I left him a note.
In said meeting, she tries to kill Ned's regional story ideas by pointing out it's too expensive to pay for them.
I mean, that's going to cost more money. Maybe we could stop doing original stories. Go back to the way it was before Ned.
If it wasn't for Oscar sticking up for Ned and finding room in the budget, Esmeralda would have succeeded in her slimy political move.
Bitch.
And for the record, you can have an antagonistic character in your show, or have a character briefly be an antagonist against one of your main characters. Dwight, especially in season 6 when Jim became co-manager, is a good example. But Dwight had many competent qualities, interests, and flaws to latch onto. He was quite good as a salesman, running his own beet farm, and a business in general. He was passionate about martial arts and upholding the law. Sure, Dwight lacked common sense and was always hungry for power, but he was usually dragged back down to earth by either Jim or Michael, and he didn't immediately resort to personal attacks to fight back. It also helps the jokes around him were actually funny and didn't feel like being waterboarded. Esmeralda can't say the same in either aspect compared to Dwight. In the next episode, Esmeralda becomes less of an antagonist, but not initially. After Ned pisses off the high school blogger, Esmeralda is the one who brings in Ned to see his humiliation, all the while laughing about it.
A bully is the worst thing you can be. Really humiliating for you, right?
Thanks for stating the obvious, Captain. Then when Ned tries to give his apology to Wesley, Esmeralda interrupts.
He resents children because he can't have any of his own. He sat on a stove.
You have all the likability of a cavity inside a child predator. But after this phone chat, Wesley posts his hit piece on Esmeralda.
Esmeralda Grand, 51, begged me to work for her, quote, sexy website. Was she hoping to violate more than child labor laws?
Oh, but that's not what upsets her. It's this.
But you're not.
51! I know! It's slander!
Yeah.
So this makes her team up with Ned to take Wesley down. But this isn't the majestic turning point the show thinks it is. The only reason why she helped is because Wesley took shots at her age, which mattered more to her than the implications she wanted to get frisky with a teenager. And when Ned had second thoughts about setting up the fake news bait, Esmeralda went full force. So, despite this team up to show Esmeralda becoming more of an ally, what this shows is her narcissism motivates her greatly. Not, say, realizing her previous actions went too far, or that no outside sources should be attacking her employees. If you did that, this would begin to make her likable. Instead, Esmeralda remains pretty dreadful. Now if you're thinking, well, what if this is the first step in her journey to being good? She doesn't have to be altruistic immediately. Well, here's what happens for the next few episodes. Episode 5 finally attempts to turn Esmeralda around completely. When the truth teller is working on a story about a catfishing scandal sweeping Toledo, it turns out Esmeralda was a victim, and is given large sums of money to said catfisher for a while. The reaction from her coworkers goes mostly like this.
How much money do you think she gave him?
$1,200, easy.
Nah, that's a lot.
Should we bet on it?
Goes to show how disliked this character is among her peers. Ned tries to prod more about her involvement, and eventually gets this reveal.
What's his name?
Jarson.
But Esmeralda receives a text from Jarson, and justifies that he is real, and he likes her. Ned replies with,
You need to admit the truth to yourself.
Here's my truth. I need you to go away because I need to take some news to send to Jarson.
Yet she refuses and keeps living in denial, which is what most of this episode is about.
That looks like Josh Holloway.
No, that's my Jarson.
That guy?
Yes.
From Lost?
Now the situation does make the audience empathize with Esmeralda. Despite the many horrible things she's done, it doesn't justify being taken advantage of. And said scenario does reveal more about who she is. A lonely and gullible person who is rather pathetic outside the walls of the Toledo Truth Teller. But the way the show handles this is a problem. For starters, the episode keeps punching down on Esmeralda and tries to make jokes at her expense, which shows again how incompetent the comedy in this show is. Jokes that punch down on a character should be done when they're either arrogant or just did something bad. You knew how to do this with Michael and Dwight.
You put my stuff in Jell-O again.
Instead, you do this now, at her most vulnerable, and when we the audience can finally empathize to Esmeralda, making each joke about her cruel, especially with how far she goes to keep ignoring the obvious.
What, did you just wire him more money?
I did it again.
This keeps going, by the way. Such a masterclass of comedy. But also, this doesn't address or resolve what Esmeralda's already done. This is more of a distraction to make you forget about what she's done. Esmeralda doesn't take this moment to reflect on recent actions and apologize, nor does she vow to change for the better. Instead, the episode ends with a coworker paying for a cameo video of Josh Holloway, telling Esmeralda that he isn't Jarson.
I'm not Jarson. I'm Josh Holloway.
Finally unable to escape reality, she makes her escape to the roof and curses in Italian while watching an episode of Lost. Ned goes to the roof to check on her, and tries to comfort her too.
I'm sorry this happened to you.
He would later publish the story without quoting from Esmeralda, and the other ladies of the Truth Teller invite Esmeralda out for a night on the town, where she enjoys herself. Altogether, there is some decent moments of compassion from our characters in this episode, except from Esmeralda. But hey, let's see where we go from here. Next episode tries to make Esmeralda more useful to the Truth Teller. She brings up an idea for a story.
Sorry, I feel a bit nervous. A room full with real journalists. Oh no, I'm not nervous in front of nerds.
Interesting you call them that after they just cheered you up. Kinda says a lot about you to degrade their personalities like a bully. But you know what? Let's just keep going and see what changes. Just breathe and keep going. Esmeralda pitches ideas for writing a paid advert about a Korean skincare product, essentially clickbait, but Ned shoots it down. Annoyed, she decides to write an idea for a story that Ned pitched. Why are the park bathrooms closing for an e-bike kiosk? Mare decides to come help Esmeralda.
Ned just asked me to ask you if you needed an assistant for the restroom article.
Oh, you mean like a servant?
Are you making me regret feeling bad for Esmeralda, show? What the fuck are you doing? When Esmeralda calls Durham, the county administrative project manager, it doesn't go well.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I got a lot to do today.
Well, me too, Frank. We all do things on this planet.
While Mare thinks the story is almost a wrap, the 4 brain cells in Esmeralda decided this likely goes deeper and the manager is hiding something. Because like her story ideas, Esmeralda has to try and make a big spectacle out of this.
Later.
She and Mare talk to Durham's secretary and get confirmation of a hearing date for the bathrooms. But unsatisfied, 3 of the 4 brain cells in Esmeralda decide to get more information. We start with this.
My migraine, the migraine, you know? Oh, it's so bad. I'm so sorry. I swear, like, so sorry about that. Oh my God. Yeah.
But wait, there's more!
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. Could you just come over here for a second?
This also goes on for too long, and somehow Mare's blubbering keeps the secretary distracted. But Esmeralda gets to ravage through the office until she takes enough pictures, then exits with Mare.
I don't really have a migraine. This is just me being great at journalism.
Fuck off. The good ones don't need to illegally enter a space to get the facts they need. In fact, Mare gets so pissed at her, she makes her remove their microphones before chewing her out.
It just feels hopeless. I know, but you just gotta go for it. Amy messed me up, man.
Kind of wish we got to hear this conversation. Would be satisfying to hear what Mare would say about obtaining something unethically. And wait, this story doesn't hold her accountable. Because apparently Esmeralda took a picture of Durham's calendar that has a trivia night on the same day as the public hearing.
That means he was lying.
Yes.
He was lying.
He was lying.
Wow. You serious? Oh my God.
Okay, let's break down the absurdity that just occurred. 1. Durham attends a trivia night every Tuesday, but he writes it on a calendar to remind himself. Who the hell does this? If it's something you do in your weekly routine, you don't need to remind yourself. It's a habit. 2. He writes this down on a physical calendar in his office, as opposed to his phone. You know, the thing everyone has and replaced a lot of physical calendars in real life. Especially because if he did need to remind himself, why not do it on a personal phone that no one could see? So I guess he's a fucking brain-dead idiot. 3. Esmeralda Grant broke and entered into someone's office and never got caught. Apparently there are no security cameras inside or outside his office that could have captured this arrestable offense. But because this evidence is legit, Mare totally ignores what just happened and is giddy. And if Esmeralda just led with this, we would have avoided the whole chew you out but we can't fully hear you bit. Later that night, the two confirm Durham is at a bar trivia. So Esmeralda decides to get Mare dolled up to extract more information out of him. She also texts Ned to show up and see her success, and lo and behold, they both work. Durham lied about a hearing to win at a trivia night instead.
All of this will come back because of me.
You know, for a show trying to demonstrate the positives of local journalism, why in the ever-loving Arctic Dildo would you have written a story arc about this and spin it as a positive? You have a character break into someone's office, get lucky they're brain dead enough to write a hobby on a physical calendar, get your other female journalist to flirt information out of the subject, get lucky the whole escapade was useful, and revel in her narcissistic juices at the end. This isn't some profound discovery of journalism skills. This is full-on manipulation of incompetence to try making me think Esmeralda did good and deserves endless praise like she discovered the Catholic priest scandals. All because she pulled the biggest bullshit hunch out of her ass and got lucky. Luckily, I don't eat paste, so the writer's plans have been foiled. Esmeralda shouldn't be rewarded for any of her behavior, and yet she does. And oh, how could I forget? Esmeralda doesn't get chewed out by Mare when she finds out she lied about her sexuality. Now if you're thinking, well, maybe she and her skills improve from this point. I'm sure she gets better from here. That's the beautiful part. We go in the complete opposite direction. After this episode, Esmeralda either becomes more toxic than nuclear waste or gets relegated to secondary fodder. Next episode after Ned tells Marv he loves him,
Marv, I love you.
she takes this as a threat to her and Ken's positions.
The golden boy.
He's coming for me.
So the two meet in the basement to discuss a plan.
How will I get him fired now that he's seduced the old man?
Oh, good to confirm you still want Ned fired despite his recent goodwill. You're a cunt. So the two decide they must get rid of Marv and have a potential friend of Ken's take over. But a janitor overhears the convo and remarks,
"Sounds risky to me. See, what if J. Autumn Reed and his wife patch things up?"
hey look, it's the best joke in the whole show. Our two blubbering tools try to save face by promising him a promotion for his silence. But later, the camera crew told him more about their evil plan. Which, wait, the camera crew can just affect the plot whenever they want now.
Really?
Therefore, the two try telling Marv the janitor has a drug problem, but that backfires. But Esmeralda is back to being in episode 3 form. Bang up character work, writers. Next episode, Esmeralda is surprisingly not involved with Ken's cover-up at the Mammoths. Instead, she is obsessed with getting her kid to be the face of Enervate's new product, Kid Mitts. She pulls him out of a math test to bring him to the audition.
I was in the middle of a math test.
So what? Who do you want to be when you grow up? A florist?
And during said audition, she upstages her own son's performance to try and get more involved.
There is a lightning storm!
Then I'll be all like...
So now we can confirm Esmeralda is a terrible mom too. Cool. Where's Child Protective Services? Episode 9, she keeps working through a dream about making love to a young version of her elderly coworker, Barry. And like the inside of a Boston cream donut with not enough sugar, this whole thing was bad filler. To wrap things up, in the season finale, she and Ken are upset they aren't sitting next to Mar for the ceremony. Therefore, she takes it as a must to prove her self-worth and should be in the spotlight. She decides to try getting on stage to outshine whenever she felt appropriate. And she does this not once, not twice, but thrice! Including fake fainting when Ned receives his award so he can't give his speech.
Miss? Miss, are you okay?
And yet the kicker was during the memoriam for the deceased journalists.
Good evening, my colleagues. So very sad for all these dead people.
And that's basically it for her character this season, and for the love of all that is holy, thank God I don't need to talk about Esmeralda anymore. This was a complete clusterfuck to digest, and I'm positive the writers gave up halfway through the season with her, and tried to revert her to this pathetic clown for piss-poor laughs. Because even they know how badly they messed up but couldn't fix it in time. Esmeralda Grant is a cancerous twat of a character, and this series suffers greatly every time she appears on screen. Wretched attempts at humor, vindictive in her actions throughout the show, manipulative attempts by the writers to have us empathize with her, only to revert her back to her starting point before the season ends. And her one attempt at value comes from insane luck and unethical practices to get the information. She is a black hole of irredeemable thoughts and skin, and the fact that she is one of the main characters of this series drags my sense of sanity down to the Earth's core. I cannot believe that these same writers who created some of the dearest characters in recent sitcom memory have shot out one of the worst characters in the entire Office universe. What an absolute disgrace. As for the other drones, they all have a pH of 10 because they're basic as fuck. They're almost all variations of other beloved Office characters, but more flanderized and idiotic. This one's slow like Kevin but has a big family. This one's old like Creed but super senile all the time. This one sees through her coworker's bullshit but is a millennial. This one's a white and country attempt of Daryl but without common sense. Ken is at least a different flavor of turd in the stew. His position is the corporate strategist of Enervate, but he's essentially a corporate stooge that pops in to promote unethical ways to make money and try keeping his job. And he's British. Really, you got two different European management characters in a small Rust Belt city. And they're both antagonists. What'd you mean by this? But out of all of them, the show tries to flesh out Dietrich and Nicole the most. Dietrich sells ads for the paper and fancies himself as a people person. But he's really quite incompetent at reading people. Nicole keeps track of circulation, but also sells your web cookies to companies. Thanks, I want to fart in your general direction. As for who she is, well, she's fairly sullen and indifferent to the current status of the Office when we meet her. And guess what? These two are also in a romance. We couldn't be satisfied with one subpar romance, we need two. We can't think of any other way to make these characters more meaningful. More horny people in the workplace, more! We begin with Dietrich already kind of fancying Nicole. He spends moments in the first few episodes making glances and trying to cheer Nicole up, but Nicole isn't impressed.
Dietrich thinks I'm sad all the time, but I'm just tired of pretending he cheered me up the last time.
In episode 4, he carves her a wooden bird.
It's just my way of saying, hey, what's up?
And who'da thunk it? She's freaked out. After getting some advice, he tries to take it slow, then after work talks to Nicole and is open about how he feels.
I feel like I need to tell you that I like you.
Yeah, I'm really not in a place right now
Like-
to start.
Like 3.5.
What?
I like you 3.5.
Out of 10?
No, out of 5.
She takes as well, and the next time we see them, they're already on a date making out?
What? What?
We're already skipping the legwork of a meaningful relationship and getting straight to this? Fucking why? Well, don't worry, this doesn't last long. Come the catfishing episode, Nicole wants to keep this relationship casual, while Dietrich did not have that in mind. But, writers, did you think this one through? Because you made Nicole hook up with Dietrich not just after one date, but after not being interested in him in the slightest until one open conversation with the guy. You're turning her into a gardening tool to keep this kid friendly. Dietrich does try going out on a date with the local news weather girl, but he isn't really interested in her. And when the office tries out products to write stories on, Nicole gets sick the entire day and night after trying kombucha. But Dietrich was willing to help her get better. Ah, a moment Shakespeare himself would be proud in The Art of Romance. And at the awards ceremony, Nicole finds out Dietrich hasn't actually been keeping things casual and is upset they've been monogamous the whole time. So she breaks up with him. And later, when Nicole notices he's talking to a different girl, she cries and needs Mare's help for support, indicating she really liked him the whole time. But did you want me to feel bad this girl was being a sleut and the awkward but well-meaning guy wanted to be a monogamous boyfriend? What the fuck was the point of all this? What was your long-term plan for these two? What did you expect to happen for the story to continue? Because I don't want these two to end up together, because I think Nicole's kind of awful. But this wraps up all characters and everything I want to talk about. A second season will be coming, and there is technically time to turn the ship around. But this was such an awful way to begin this series, and so many major problems will take a lot of work to correct, especially with Esmeralda. And with streaming shows being so disposable now, if you can't capture an audience's attention immediately, you're screwed for its longevity. And it's an absolute shame that this is the canon sequel to one of the most beloved sitcoms in recent memory. So for now, if you want an actual successor to The Office, just watch Parks and Rec. Anywho, thank you all for watching. Expect more videos from me, Almighty Z, discussing more media from A to Z.